is a small town about 30 miles south of Glasgow. I farm there with my wife Leslie and our 2 daughters. My oldest daughter is currently studying international business at Strathclyde Uni, and my youngest is still at school, and she is hoping to go into nursery school teaching, or possibly showing a slight interest in farming at the moment, but I think that's just to get money. My grandfather took on the tenantry of our farm in 1934 as a newly married man. He milked 30 cows, producing almost 30 gallons of milk per day, and he sold this around the local villages off the back of a horse and trailer. When my father took over the farm in 1966, the herd was increased to a number of 70 cows, producing around 1,000 litres a day, all of which went to the Milk Marketing Board at the time. At that time, our farm, it's looked after 4 families with 3 workers and my father, and previously when my grandfather took on, he had 4 workers and a lady in the house to help out. By now, as young kids during our early years in the 80s, our school bus travelled about 4 miles picking up country kids to take to local primary. On those 4 miles, we picked up the kids from 9 small dairy farms, all of which had small dairies, and all of these managed to support these families. At the end of our school, myself and my brother were very keen to get home to help on the family farm, and from a very young age we both knew this is what we wanted to do. But farming has changed so much since those early years, so much so that of the 9 dairies I spoke of earlier, only 2 remain, with all the others seeking employment elsewhere off farm. A combination of poor milk prices and poor quality of life being to blame for this exodus. However, myself and my brother decided expansion was the route to follow and set about trying to acquire more land. This would allow us to expand our herd of milking cows. This is Regent here, up in the distance. We're going to take pictures closer, but at the moment we're doing a lot of work to the front of the farm and in places like a bomb site, so this is the only distance we're decent. So when myself and my brother took over the farm, or running the day-to-day running the farm, in about 1998, we stayed in a 200-acre tenanted farm, milked 70 cows. We are now up to that, we farm around 1,000 acres, and we milk about 400 cows, and of those 400 cows we produce about 3.5 million litres of milk annually, and this all goes to our local Nestle site at Girvan. And our relationship with Nestle started in 2003 with first milk used to balance the milk supply going into Nestle, and they used our milk. Then in 2010 we started a dedicated supply group of some 56 farms, and Nestle had earmarked our area in the southwest of Scotland as a very high rainfall area which can grow grass right out through the year, especially down in Stranraer, for maybe 8-9 months of the year. So drought was never going to be an issue, and this allows us to produce ample amounts of grass to feed to our dairy cows, which we try and graze for 6 months at least, down into dry areas of Stranraer. It could be up to 9 months of the year, and this gives the Nestle product the flavour and quality synonymous now with the chocolate crumb being manufactured at Girvan. Being part of the dedicated groups for Nestle gives you a certain satisfaction that all the work you do goes towards something at the end of it, and our milk will go for chocolate crumb, which is which is then used to produce the Kit Kat, which, as you can see, I quite enjoy a few Kit Kats. Since its inception, the group and its requirements have changed as our relationship has matured. Changing concerns by Nestle's customers have led to a number of changes. Some health related and some environmental concerns have led to the introduction of carbon footprinting and the annual audit being carried out to try and minimise our impact on the local environment, with an emphasis being put on an ever lowering requirement for energy and making the most of homegrown forage. Nestle have also been at the forefront of trying to reduce antibiotic usage within the dairy herd and the subsequent antibiotic contamination of milk supplies to our industry. Our group now boasts some of the best figures that these will be envied nationwide, if not even worldwide. Nestle have also taken a tough stance on animal health and welfare. First, on the welfare front, we have stopped the shooting of dairy bred bull calves within our group now for a couple of years now, and also the introduction of compulsory testing and hopefully ultimately the eradication of Johne's disease, one of the first of its kind, I believe, in the country. Our group has also embarked on a number of environmentally beneficial schemes such as hedge laying, tree planting and the fencing off of watercourses, and in some areas of the country the rebuilding of stone walls, all under the guidance of Jim Egan and the Game and Wildlife Trust. This is an area, we took over this farm in 2000 and it had been heavily done with arable, and then it was sheep that was on it, so the hedgerows were terrible. We have planted up all the gaps right along to try and improve these hedges, and it's beneficial for us as well because the fences, when we put stock into the fields, the hedgerows protect the fences and keep the cattle from the fences, so it is a mutually beneficial thing, and it does look nice when you see it. We did some 150 metres of this and another fence last year, and we have committed to do more again this year because we've seen the benefits of it. This is the area we fenced off the river. Our stock, these are heavily grazed fields with dairy cows. The dairy cows are gaining access to the river to drink, which is a huge no-no now for erosion of the banks and for cattle doing what they do in the river. So we have fenced off the river here, and again we're committed to do more again this year, and ultimately it helps us as well. It keeps the cattle from going into the river, because we're guilty of going into the river. We'd walk right up the river and stray, because they would end up going to a bit where they could not get back up into the field. So it's been beneficial to us, and we're doing a lot of work with Jim, and after a recent visit from Nestle and the Woodlands Trust, hosted by myself, Jim Egan suggested one or two things that would make a big difference to our farm and its benefits to our resident wildlife. One of these observations was the height and width of our hedgerows that surrounded most of our fields, and up until that point I had never considered doing anything different to what my father and my grandfather had done. But after Jim had asked this question to me, I then put the question to my father, and I could not answer it to Jim. I said, why do we leave the hedges at a certain height? My dad said it was very simple. My dad, up until 1960 something, cut the hedges with a knife, and my dad, like me, is a very short man. That was the height we could go to. But since then, and after Jim's chat, we now allow our hedgerows to grow a lot higher and a lot wider, and we only cut them every second year, thus providing a better habitat for our wildlife on the farm. We have also implemented a hedge plan that involves filling in the gaps, as you see earlier, on our original hedges to create better wildlife corridors. We have also fenced off areas of the riverbank to avoid cattle erosion of the banks. All of these small individual things may look insignificant, but when you add them all up as a group, they come to quite a decent amount, and it does make quite a difference. Nestle as a company uses sustainability payment to encourage and help fund these improvements we are carrying out in the farm, and this is possibly a blueprint for our current government to look at, to link to future support payments being made to our industry post-Brexit, if Brexit ever happens. This year we have begun a soil sampling task that helps you know what your soil is, and more importantly is not requiring, as the oversupply of unrequired nutrients leads to the unused nutrients finding their way into the watercourses and the subsequent problems that this causes. We have also been encouraged to get our local schools to come along and see our farms first hand and see what where their food comes from. I myself, we host a show, this is Coylton Show, it's a small village show, and we are between two small villages, Coylton on one side and Drongan on the other, and all the kids from the primary schools come along that day, and they get to see all the farm animals, the sheep, there's cattle, there's horses, and they get to see them first hand. You can see pictures of cows being milked, or actually see cows being milked on the day, and it's amazing when you see them get to actually see a cow being milked, and their parents bring them, and some of the questions, even by the parents, one of the kids asked last year, do you milk them at weekends? And the father, who must be in his 40s, said no, they don't milk them at weekends. And we said they're milked 7 days a week, every day of the year, all year. And the father said, but surely not Christmas and New Year. Every single day of the year. It was lightning. It was amazing. And it is fascinating for them all to see it. And they get a lot out of it. And they get to, well, especially some of the smaller animals, the sheep, they can handle the sheep. And we're involved with 2 schools. They get to draw pictures, and there's a competition for designing the cover of the show schedule, which this year it was a girl from Coylton that won it. And on the day, all the designs for the front of the show schedule are off a big board, and they all get to see them. And it is excellent. And being part of the Nestle group has given me an insight into how the relationship between themselves and First Milk worked. And I also took a trip down to the York factory, where we see a chocolate crumb, which is a great thing to see, because we've been to Nestle at Girvan, you see your chocolate crumb, but to actually go down and see it being used in the line, and to meet the people who are using it, whether they're genuinely pleased to see us, I don't know, but they did seem genuinely pleased to see us. So we had a visit to the York factory, and it's been very enlightening to say the least, and it also has led me to do things well outside my comfort zone, such as speaking here today. But there's been some great benefits, and as with a lot of these types of schemes, working with Jim, when we first heard about it, it was met with a certain degree of scepticism, especially amongst some of our older members, because what you've got to remember, in Scotland the average age of a dairy